Silvertongue Rascals, up the Rascals, go on! How do I up? What's going on? This is your boy Ben Randm, and I am here to let you all know about the new music project I'm involved with, my band Silvertongue Rascals, soon to be your favourite new band. We've got so many bangers, but this is me chatting about tracks off our EP, Fellas on a London Sesh, and this track that I'm going to be speaking to you about right now is called Working Class Kids. So, where to start with this track, Working Class Kids? I feel like when I do my stand-up and I'm writing about my stand-up, like the process behind that, this has been the closest to that. And what I mean by that is the actual rewrites, the actual play with certain cadence or the layout of it. In fact, we finished the track and I road tested it at Crazy Pedro's in Manchester. Shout out Pedro's. And I played it at an after party as well. Just a little sly one, do you know what I mean? See if anyone were vibing. And people were vibing, but it weren't gripping. And I was like, nah, it needs to be flipped. And in the space of a session with my boy Brander, who's not in the band, but he's in the band, but he's not in the band. What we decided to do was, the original track that we had, like, I love Kendrick Lamar. Like, that guy is a goat to me. And getting to see him at Glastonbury was one of the most exhilarating experiences that I'd ever seen. But we'd done this track before that. And when we did this track and we flipped it, it was based around the idea of money trees, which obviously samples, I think, Beach House. And they reversed the sample. And what we did was like, well, our original track, why don't we sample our original track, put it in reverse and see how it sounds? Because we wanted it to sound as UK current hip hop meets psychedelic. That's the best way that I can describe this track. And we thought putting the track in reverse, what we'd sampled would offer that psychedelic remit, and it worked. And then we were like, well, what else should we do? And we were just really like playful with this, really experimental, because we'd already done the track, so it was almost like reconstructing a track that we'd done. It was like Working Class Kids 2.0 almost. So we had a chorus. I rewrote the chorus because Brandon made me rewrite the chorus. His words were, it's decent, but you want something that is gonna be like infamous. I was like, all right, sick. So I went away, rewrote that, come back with the hook, which is, life isn't handed easy to us, but that doesn't give you your right to judge. Working class kids are diamonds in the rough. No silver spoon, we're made of tougher stuff. And that is the glue of the track, is that when I look around society and how lower income families are villainized by particular segments of media or political factions or just outright snobbery, it's always viewed in a way of looking down the nose of how people live their life, never looked at the conditions that place them in the way that they have to live their lives. So when I wrote this track, originally, I always had the idea from Frank Ocean's Super Rich Kids to flip it and write like our version of it, do you know what I mean? But like from the streets. So like, originally, been a Bradford lad, the term that came to me was proper poor kids, and it weren't the picture that I wanted to portray. It was more joyriding and drinking Lamborghini in park, and like that is what it is, you know what I mean? That's part and parcel of certain youngers' lives and that. But this, I knew it, like when I go back to Kendrick, I wanted this to feel like an alright, do you know what I mean? I wanted this to feel like a real anthem. And when we went back to Working Class Kids, what it did, it allowed me to come up with the synopsis that we had the mum and we had the eldest child. So I come up with this idea that there's the mum that does verse 1 and verse 3, and the eldest teen does verse 2. So the first verse is the mum, and again, this is I'm really adamant that it wasn't from a place of victim or being blaming and pointing fingers. It's a point of defiance. It's like, you shovel this shit on us, and yet we make what we can out of it. Imagine what we could do if we had the fucking same opportunities as everyone, not everyone else, but as certain classes get. And yet those classes want to look down the nose. And this is another thing that I wanted to make sure of as well. Like, it's not about race. It's not about race. Like, working class kid, like, working class covers all races. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, this wasn't like a song that was going to be like black, urban, inner city life. Like, it definitely reaches to that, but it reaches to inner suburban Dublin. When I was speaking with my boy Killian, and he was like, yo, we get that as well. You know what I'm saying? He's telling me about these different section houses that are there, and you know what I'm saying? It's like, got mates in Liverpool who can speak the same truth as my mates in, you know, all over. This is, and it's this drastic ratio of inequality that doesn't have to be there. And yet, when people succeed from the certain traps and the settings that are set up to fail, and they come through and they become something of a success, then the way that that success gets viewed, it's like, well, they did it, why can't everyone else? And it's like, that's not how it is. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, for me, I'm an advocate for equality. Like, that is all I believe that I am here to be, like a soul from another star on this planet to shine equality and speak about equality. Like, that's it. Like, I just want to be here, seen as a light beam, light vessels, spreading light and joy through whatever mechanics I can to be able to connect with people so that they feel like you're not worthless, you've got so much to offer. And I feel like with working class kids, it's set up so that you have to go down a certain path. And then when you go down that certain path, you're wrong for going down that path. And don't get me wrong, you've definitely got choices and not everyone has to go down a certain path. But the point being is, sometimes those paths are the only things that are available if you're able to even start about making a difference. Now, I'm not backing that way, but what I'm saying is, don't just come down with your scrutiny, switching on people that are doing certain stuff. There's parameters that are put into play to make it that way. It's a trap. So I wanted to write about working class kids and come from a place of defiance. I wanted the mum to come from a point of struggle, but you know what? It shouldn't be this hard, but we do it and we make our way. But then answer the angle of, well, how can that mum raise her kids when she's working 19 hours a day? Like, do you see what I'm saying? It's like, she's got to work 19 hours a day to keep a roof over their head. But then people saying, well, where's the mum to raise the kid? Well, she's working to keep a roof over the head. If she doesn't work to keep a roof over the head, what's going to happen to the family? But then the middle verse, and the one that I'm really like gassed about, if I'm being real, is like, the teenager is speaking about the life that is served to him, but it's not from a point of bragging or begatting, like, yeah, this is what I do because of this and because of this, and it's not celebrating it. It's because it's from a point of survival. And as a 15-year-old, he can't just go out and get a job. He's seen his mum struggle. How can he help his mum? How can he make money to help his mum if he can't get a job and the system's failing him? So I pray that this song right here connects with people in a way that it becomes an uplifting anthem to know that not everything is black and white. Like, there are the Venn diagram as it crosses, there is that grey area, that minutiae almost of like life. And to vilify people when you're not looking at the surroundings that people have been put in is bullshit. And it's not backing what path people take, but it's to have a bit of a heart and understand that why are people put in a certain surroundings or system? Why is there not enough that we can change these elements in these communities and give people more so that they have more options to become more, to be offered more? And I pray that this song offers that as a backbone to know that what is put in with us, that struggle, can create so much and take over. If you look at hip hop, if you look at disco, if you look at grime, if you look at so many musical movements that have come out from struggle, through protest, that have gone on to galvanise and gallivant, take over the fucking planet, like, and then be monetized. Like, you have a story, you have a sense of belonging, you are important to this, and I just pray that you understand that as shit as it can be, you know, I'm reading stories in the paper at the moment, like, a 2-year-old lad dies because the house that he was in was mouldy and his mum kept reporting it and no one did anything, and he died because of the mould and the damp. Or I'm seeing something about a mum who was in rent arrears and bill arrears, and she'd applied for it and it'd not come back, and her and a 3-year-old daughter like jumped in front of a train. It's like, why should people have to be put to the brink of survival to live? It's just fucked. It's fucked. So this song really wants to speak with that, but again, not from a victim point of view, from a defiance point of view, is we will move the pieces on the board and make something of ourselves, and you have the opportunity and potential to do that as well. So we can change this whole fucking system, because it's rigged and it's fucked, but we can overcome it with numbers. That's why I'm saying it's not about a particular race, it's about us as the working class, as a union, to come together, because we have the numbers in the masses to change this, man. We can change this. I fully believe it, man. So going back to the track, the middle bit switches up with a real, like, aggy, old school. I wanted to touch on that dizzy boy in the corner era for that, and then, like, obviously first and third verses. You know, the third verse has got like a bit of dream state rising it towards the end for the optimism that comes through, and the chorus, which I touched on at the start, is something that we wanted to sample ourselves. So we made a song to be a protest song that would be fit in the 60s, so that we could sample that to put at the start of the track, so that we could then sample it throughout the track to speed up. So there's a lot of interesting, innovative, crazy, experimental ideas in this, which work with the track, you know, and the meaning and the message behind the track. It's real. And, you know, I'm wearing on my shirt now, like, these 3 kings, yeah, like, after the time of filming this, like, it's the day after England have just beat Iran 6-2, yeah, and my boy Bukayo Saka has bagged 2 goals, and he's getting heralded in that, yeah. But, like, what, 2 years ago, if that, the summer of what, 2020, when he missed his penalty, and all the hate that came out, and this is what I'm on about, like, it's the hypocrisy of the democracy that pisses me off, right? And I just feel like we as the people have the power, not the people in power. And once we understand that, we can really do that. So that's what Working Class Kids is about. It's a fucking track of defiance against the bullshit of the system that, in my head, is a bittersweet symphony vibe. Do you know what I'm saying, man? It's got that melancholy, but all in optimism of believing in our communities and our people around us. And I just pray that it hits and resonates like that as well, so that it's got good in its soul and in its system and its spirit. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel like Working Class Kids is one of them tracks that, if you're in a favela in Brazil, a fucking Inuit in a fucking igloo, or in poverty in fucking Bradford, do you know what I'm saying, man? Like, wherever the rich are, they will always try profit off the poor, but there's more of the poor to make numbers to grow through this. And I pray that this song can become some form of a safety net, an anthem to help us rejoice in that, man. So yeah, that was a deep one, but it's because the track is, man. This is Working Class Kids.
Life isn't handed easy to us. That doesn't give you your right to judge. Working class kids are diamonds in the rough. No silver spoon, we made it to